Alright, welcome back everybody. It's me, Jason Kochis. Thanks. Be sure to tell all your friends to join my Patreon so I can keep doing more stuff like this and having really fun, cool projects to work on. Most recently I had been using the leader pen nibs that I had got. There was like this trial set that I got offline. There's the S pen, the G pen, and the Maru pen. And I've used the G pen and the S pen, which is what I've got in there right now. Haven't tried Maru yet, but it's really not satisfied with the results I had gotten. I felt like the lines on my drawing were really they weren't nice and smooth. They were real bumpy and edgy, and just really unhappy with that. So wondering if it was the paper. It was just the paper that came in the set. And so now I've drawn this quick little guy here on some Bristol board, this Strathmore Bristol little trading card boards. So I'm going to try that again. I'm really trying to find a more professional way to ink my drawings that when I erase the lines it won't affect the actual ink that I had done, the job that I had done to it. So I'm going to use Winsor Newton ink with the Deleter S quill pen, and again trying it on this Bristol board. Hopefully it'll give me better results than the, normally I use these Tombow brush pens, which are really great. I love the tips on it and everything. It's just the ink in them does not last very long, and it usually ends up when I go to erase the pencil drawings, it erases some of the ink on from the brush pen, and just really unsatisfied with that. So again, just trying to do a more professional, permanent way of inking and finding what I like. I had done some on the one test I did. I was really unsatisfied because I couldn't get very thick lines. I feel like these nibs, I haven't gotten the right one to give me a nice thick line where I can push down and get real thick. So I busted out a paintbrush and tried to do that, and that was a little bit too thick, and the size of the brush there was really tiny, so I was surprised that I got a really thick line from such a tiny brush. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. One thing I don't like about this too is I have to keep going back into the get more and more ink. Let me try a little scratch paper first, just to. Okay. So I'm gonna start with the eyes. I feel like that's a good place to start. I can move around the drawing if I start with the eyes. It's giving me really good thin lines. Again, I want them to be a little bit thicker. Still a little bit shaky. Maybe that's just my apprehension about using these nibs. Okay, there's one. Let's try and do another one. So far the amount of ink going down is pretty good. The one thing I did like about this was I could actually, when it was dry, I could feel the ink on the paper, which I thought was really cool. An unexpected outcome. So far, I'm liking the quality of the lines that I'm creating here. And you know, all the comic book and manga artists swear by these pens, and that's all that they use. So I'm just trying to figure out really what works the best for me, and what they're seeing and I'm not. Perhaps it's just practice that I'm not familiar with using these. So yeah, again, I feel like it's better. I'm getting better with it. But I was hoping the line I would just put down and it would be, kind of close to a final line, where I feel like it's not going down as I imagined it would. Or as I see people do it online, and watch a lot of videos of people inking drawings, trying to pick up stuff. The main thing is people are always talking about, rotate your paper. You'll notice that I'm always rotating it to get a better angle. And again, the sort of wobbliness of the line might not matter too much once it gets to the final, after I scan it and reduce it in size for the actual comic and publication. It may be okay. Might not be bothered by it as quite as much. But I want to be confident and happy with the drawing at the original size, and then when it gets reduced down, to be like, oh wow, that's super cool. Looks even tighter than I remember it. And the one thing I was hoping that this process would do was make the inking process go a lot quicker, where I feel like it is going a little bit quicker, but it didn't want to have to build up the lines quite as much as I feel like I do with the Tombow brush pens. And that'll really probably come into play when I do the outlines of the face and everything like that. That's where I like to have sort of a variation where it gets a little bit thicker down here, maybe thinner, thicker, where I have to simulate that when I'm using the brush pens. A little bit anyway. Yeah, so see how thin that line is. I was hoping it would be a little bit thicker like this, which this one looks a little bit too thick on the eye. I feel like that eyelash is bigger than the eyebrow here. But I appreciate you watching and coming along with me while I sort of learn how to do this. Teaching myself sort of whatever I can pick up by watching videos and tutorials by other artists. Alright, let's see if I can get this line to do what I want it to do. The other thing too I've noticed was how scratchy it sounds. You can hear that. I feel like I'm getting some of the paper on the nib as well when I do it that way. This is one of the characters from the comic that I'm trying to currently work on. So I haven't announced anything about this yet on my social media or even on Patreon for that matter. Just I've been working on character design, sketches like this, trying to work out the characters, work out the story, do a plot, you know, where everything's going to go, who the characters are going to be. I pretty much have the main characters down, and the one boy character is one of the main characters that you're seeing here. So I've drawn him a number of times so far. And you've probably seen it or seen him in the G pen and S pen brush post I did, the process one. It wasn't a video. It was just images. What I had been working on. Yeah, not sure if you can see the detail or not, but it's not bad. Again, still a little rough around the edges here for my taste. It could just be part of how it's going to come out, or I just need to get more confident with using the nib. Or get a bigger nib to make the lines thicker. Again, because I'm trying to, save some time and have it look consistent, or at least look like how I feel it should look like. perhaps it's just I have to just go over the lines a few times just to get it smooth and to the thickness that I want ultimately. Which again is a little disappointing because I feel like I could be going a little bit quicker if I was just using brush pen, the Tombow brush pens, but I mean, it's possible I'll try like a microns or rapidograph, but again, I feel like I don't hear a lot of professional artists using those as much. And I'm also trying to, use something that's going to last for a while. Sort of archival rather than just, because I've seen definitely some pages that have been drawn with marker, and those seem to fade or bleed over time. And, again, want to create something that's going to last. At least a little while, anyway. And, I have not, at this point, I have not ventured into doing stuff digitally with like a tablet or that sort of route. Mostly because I've invested a lot of time and money into doing things traditionally, and I feel like I hear the feedback from other professional artists. If you do things traditionally, then you have something else you can sell. If you do a digital file, you can't sell the original art necessarily. Although, with that whole, I forget what they're called right now, but the sort of like cryptocurrency type files that people are selling right now. I can't remember the name of it right now, but which I don't even understand, to be honest. So I don't think I would go that route, at least not at this point. I know a lot of the people in the comic industry have been able to make a living off of that stuff, and that's great. I know some of the companies are not happy about that, but gotta watch it. Make sure it's dry before you touch it. So yeah, again, that's why I'm doing this all traditionally, and again, trying to do it in a traditional professional way. I know ultimately at the end of the day it doesn't matter. Once it's scanned into the computer, I can make the image darker. I can correct things if I happen to make a mistake, but it would be nice to sort of have something I can be proud of that's an original art to start with. I've been finding if I sort of keep my hand straight and go like this, I'm able to get a fairly consistent line. It's not too bumpy. And I do that with the brush pen as well. just want to get some variation here. There we go. That's not fun. Yeah, I think I'm really starting to muck it up now. Yeah, not happy at all with that line there, but yeah, it's a little just really thick right here, a little thready, a little jagged. It's like he's got some hair on his chin. Perhaps if I thicken up lines elsewhere, it will all look consistent. That one went down better. That one's pretty good too. Maybe it's a matter of cleaning out the brush before I go into it again, which again seems like such a waste of time if I have to do this every time. His hair is going to be black, so I'm not too worried about this area. I'm just trying to give myself a little bit of a thick line around my line so I can go back in and with a brush and to fill in these areas with a brush and ink. But yeah, sort of want to give myself an outline so I can go up to the edge with the brush. Yeah, perhaps it's just gonna take time and practice, and inking this the way I'm trying to do isn't going to be a time saver. Again, if I wanted it to be nice and scratchy and rugged, that'd be fine. More sketchy rather than refined, like I'm thinking I want to do it. And perhaps it's I've been doing t-shirt graphics and vector art on computer for 20-something years. I'm used to a very clean line with the computer and very finished looking art to me. But perhaps that's just my OCD, being a little too OCD about it. But you'll have to let me know in the comments if have too much of a high standard, being a little unrealistic. I have a tendency to overthink things as well, so One thing I definitely don't have plans to do traditionally is add the screen tones. I definitely will just do that in the computer in Photoshop. And I say that now, maybe in a couple years I will actually do screen tones, but at this point I feel like I will just do that digitally. Do this. This is my scrap paper here. Just gonna pull my line off of the paper like that. There we go. That's looking pretty decent at the moment. Line quality is pretty good. I'm a lot happier with it today than I was with it the other day. And again, the major difference is the paper, sort of Bristol board paper here, as opposed to a sort of flimsy paper I was practicing on. Definitely one thing I'll have to get used to if I continue with this process is letting the ink dry everywhere. Before I can place my hand on it or go back over it. With the brush pens, definitely don't have to worry about that. I'm going to get a paintbrush and then fill in these areas real quick. So as I mentioned, I was using a brush the other night when I was unsatisfied, and this is that's the size of the brush that I was using to try to do these lines, and it came out rather thick, and I'll probably use that for now. Usually when I'm doing pages I use a much bigger brush like this. That's pretty thick, but I do like the point on this brush. But again, it's for big thicker areas. So yeah, just try to draw a line here. So yeah, you can see how thick that line is, even though my brush is not very it's not very thick. Perhaps I have too much ink on there. But yeah, just filling in his hair with this. I don't even know who this is. Art Tech brush. I'm terrible. I don't buy expensive brushes because I was always just using acrylic and not very good to the brush. Although I mean I did clean them very well. I just I didn't discriminate if it was nylon or it didn't have to be Winsor Newton, any kind of particular brush. It was just whatever was affordable at the time. I used to do a lot of paintings in acrylic, especially when I was in college. When I graduated college, I thought I was just gonna be a freelance painter, sort of editorial or music review illustrations for like Rolling Stone, things like that. That's what I was really into. Um, but yeah, that didn't happen. But that's okay. Definitely prepared me for what I'm doing now. Sometimes I'm a lot more comfortable with a brush. That's like why I busted out the brush the other night when I was unsatisfied with the G Pen and S Pen demo that I was doing. But and maybe that's why I prefer a thicker line when I'm creating comics. I'm used to the brush and having a really thick line. But so far I'm a lot happier with this version. Yeah, it's a little bit cleaner. Still not exactly how I'd want to have done it. But it is really it's pretty good. A lot better than I expected it to be. And perhaps again, it's just practice. You can see the ink is still wet there on the top where I brushed it on. But yeah, some areas I'm not really happy with are this eyebrow just came out really, or it's not even an eyebrow. It's like an eyelash, top of the eye area is a little bit thick. This area, and then this I just went a little bit too thick, and it'll be interesting to see once it dries if I can erase and if any of the ink will come off. But yeah, like I said, fairly happy. I think I want to just touch up this one little area on the hair, which you can't see it at the moment on camera, but just a little bit, get a little bit smoother here if I can. That's better. Not what I wanted to do. Wanted it a little bit more, but yeah, all in all, pretty successful. Happy with what I had done today. Again, using the deleter S Pen on this demo with the Winsor Newton 951 Black India ink. And yeah, thanks again for checking it out. Thanks for subscribing, and please let everyone know that you subscribe and you like me. Thanks again, and talk to you later.